Yo, what's good, man? It's the Easy Child Podcast with your one and only host, Glory Boy, back here with our next special guest in the building. This special guest, he's a D3 All-American mental game coach, helping athletes coach themselves. And as you can see, if you do search up on his social media, you can see that he posts videos every day just trying to educate athletes on just a lot of different things, not just baseball itself, but just mental game of, the sport itself, and we're going to talk about all of that. And it's an honor to have you on the show, bro. I'm going to have you introduce yourself. But before that, y'all go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. But yeah, how you doing today?
Good, bro. I appreciate the intro, and I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm grateful to have this conversation.
Most definitely. So I like to just jump straight to like one of the questions that I have for you, that you're actually helping athletes unlock their full potential.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come about that?
So I think there's a good quote that summarizes it in baseball. There's a player called his name was Yogi Berra. He said the game of baseball is 90% mental, the other half is physical. So he's basically saying 10% of the game is physical, 90% is mental. And I feel like for me to become an All-American, I was gifted with some physical tools, some physical things, but I unlocked my game when I embraced the mindset of like living who I want to become every day. Not just, I'm at practice, I'm a baseball player right now. It's like you wake up and you are the person that you want to become every single day. Every step of each day, you're becoming that person.
Yeah, most definitely. Take us back, bro, because I want to get to know your story. You've been playing baseball for a very long time, but we all have a start.
Mm-hmm.
How was the start for you? Like, where did everything start?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I started playing baseball when I was like, I don't know. Everyone gets in this debate. I started when I was 3, whatever. I started when I was a kid. I played t-ball. I played some other sports, but I wasn't that good at them, or I wasn't as naturally good at them as I was with baseball. So baseball was a sport I stuck with naturally. Played baseball all the way from t-ball all the way to when I graduated college 2 years ago. T-ball is like literally when the ball is on the tee.
Oh,
so like the ball's not even moving.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's on a tee. Usually coaches are like, once you hit the ball on the tee, you're like 4 years old. Coach is like, hey, run over here, run this way. So like you start there, and then I played all the way up to when I graduated college in 2023. And along that way, like I had many different challenges. At one point I quit. I moved around a bunch as a kid, but through all that, baseball was like it was the thing that formed me into who I am today.
Right, most definitely, bro. I feel you. Sports mostly makes you who you become.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay with it's gonna shape you mentally, physically. But also, you moved around as a kid. How did that affect you? Because I had someone on the podcast as well. It was 2 brothers that I had on the podcast that I was speaking to, and they had the same experience where their parents like moved them near all over the place, Florida, Ohio, Buffalo, and he told me his experience. But like, what was your experience like, just moving around as a kid?
Yeah, it was. As a kid, it was tough. I didn't enjoy it as a kid, but I'm very grateful in the sense that my dad was always doing it to provide for us. My mom raised me and my brother, both my brothers and my sister. That was her job, and my dad afforded us that life by always moving and taking promotions. So I'm grateful for that. But it was tough as a kid because you're always going around new groups of people. I was born in Florida, moved to Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, back to Georgia, to Buffalo. So I was always the new kid. I was always the outsider. And if you've never lived that experience as being an outsider, a new kid, it's very tough to understand that feeling of always trying to like prove yourself or feel welcome, or like trying to like gain respect from people. You always kind of feel like you're always kind of having to prove yourself, where you come into social circles, even in like, I remember moving, when I moved to Georgia in 6th grade. At this point, I'm getting older, so like you just start to realize kind of socially how things work and how there's like friend groups and like athletes hang with. You actually start to see that now, where like when you're younger, you're like, you're at recess and you just like play games, and you go to class and you just rotate with the same group all day. And then you get to middle school and you're like changing classes and you got kids who are athletes and you start to see socially how you're an outsider and how that affects. And I remember seeing that and being like, wow, like, kind of like confused, like
Right.
why do people treat people in such a way? Like, why am I the one that's the outsider? But to circle back to baseball was that vehicle. That was how I communicated with people. That's how I got introduced to people. That's how I kind of showed everyone who I was everywhere I moved. It was baseball.
Yeah, bro. And I'm glad you continue doing that. You know, you grew up in a two parents household. How was that experience like? Because I've had some single parents on the show. I've had kids that grew up in single parents home and they had different experiences where they felt like a lot of the things that they could accomplish, they needed one of the parents to be present. But like, how was your experience like? Because I grew up in a two parents household as well.
So it's interesting. Like, my dad worked very hard. My dad worked very hard almost every single day of the week. He'd be there. As I got older, it was the more he worked. So I did have a two-parent household, but my mom was the one who raised us majority of the time, if that makes sense. And I'm super grateful for the upbringing that I had. I think that I can't imagine what it would be like to grow up not knowing where your next meal's coming, to grow up like not knowing if you're gonna like have like new shoes because these ones have holes. Like I was nowhere near that, so I can't even like imagine what that would be like. So I'm very, very grateful in hindsight that I had a two-parent household. My dad worked really hard, afforded us a good middle class life. You know what I mean? And I like to think that, you know, they afforded me a great childhood, so then I can start from a better place and pay it forward to like when I have kids. You know what I mean? And that just keeps building.
Yeah, just
down the
keep
line,
building, bro. And also like just your father being around. What were some lessons he instilled in you? Like, you know, because I can see you're a very stand-up guy. You know, you do have things going on for yourself. Very respectful. And the first time we met, it's like we've known each other for a while. You know, like what's some characteristics did your father instill in you just for him being around you?
Yeah, and I thought about this a lot because I think, and we talked about this before a little bit. I was always, since I was the new kid, I always didn't do a lot of talking. I always did a lot of watching. And I did that a lot by watching people's actions and like watching my dad. My dad would get up for work every single day, not complain. He'd go to work. He'd work every day. He'd work hard. He'd come home and he'd do it again the next day. My dad would work hard. He'd work hard and then he'd come home and he'd clean his car. He'd work. He'd come home. He'd mow the lawn. He'd work. He'd come home. My dad was a worker. So like that work ethic, seeing someone like in my house, seeing someone who I literally see him every day. He works that hard. That showed me like, okay, like the work ethic thing is it's a choice. So that he instilled that work ethic in me. And I think that's the number one thing that he has given me is like the diligence, the work ethic, the energy to just constantly chip away, keep working. And he taught me the one lesson that he taught me, like by saying something to me that always has stuck with me, is when he was like my age, he worked for a guy that owned a lot of property. My dad would work for him, help him maintain the property and whatnot. He said that guy told him, if you want to, you know, get as far as you can in life, like you want to be in charge of yourself, like work for yourself. And my dad told me that lesson in the sense that he didn't take that route. My dad went the white collar corporate route, but he always told me that, like, that's what he used to tell me. And that stuck with me. Like, okay, I got to try to figure this thing out.
That's it, bro. And that's the importance of having, you know, just both parents. And I mean, for those with single parents, I mean, they also have some parents who are actually helping them out, you know, giving them that guidance, because that guidance shapes you, you know, from a young age to when you become older. I myself, I grew up with two parents. My father also, same thing, bro. Like, I've always worked really hard. I'm in the United States because of him. You know, he worked really hard to get us to this point, and just watching him and him doing that, I got so inspired. I'm like, man, you know what? I want to do that for myself as well, because that's gonna allow me to show my kids that just as a man in general, you have to be some way a provider, like provide for your family. Don't complain. You know, just do it. But also focus on yourself too. Make sure
Yeah.
you focus on your mental health, that you're happy. So my father have always done that for himself too. Like he will go hang out with his guys, but he will always know my priorities, making sure that my kids and my wife, they're in good stand. Let's jump straight into baseball, because I've watched your stories, I've watched things that you've been posting, and you mentioned something very important, because a lot of people do struggle with that. Mastering your mindset. You know, there's a lot of things that, you know, drags us out of attention. So many people basically they don't have some sort of like focus, because they're on social media scrolling, seeing other people doing something, and then feeling like, why not me?
Yeah.
You know, but it all starts here.
Yeah.
But like, what would you say in regards to mastering your mindset to the athletes and just anybody in general?
So I'm gonna use an analogy, because I want the people to try to really understand this. So think of someone that grew up in a small town in the early 1900s, no technology. Maybe the only news they had was a newspaper, maybe. And they grew up on a farm, and their father raised them every day. You got to wake up early. You got to, take care of your responsibilities. Maybe it's like clean the stables, feed the animals, look after the land, and all you knew was that. That was your lifestyle, and that wasn't a choice. That's how you were raised, but that's all you knew. So your exposure was limited to that. Nowadays, in 2025, everyone is exposed to the world. I can see people live streaming in Thailand. I can watch someone who's doing business in London. I can watch a baseball game that's happening in Los Angeles. I can see people who are traveling the world. I can see people who run businesses in Miami. So you're exposed to the world. So back then, you were limited by exposure. Now, you're limited by choice. You're so distracted that your choice is the most powerful thing. So that's why the mindset, how you carry yourself, the things that you want to become, it's all a bunch of choices. I have a good buddy, and I really think this was one of the reasons that sparked me to become an All-American. Now, and again, the All-American was a byproduct of the mindset, of the habits. But he had texted me one day when I was in this like gray area, and I was like, dang, like it's my last year of college, and I want to go all in. But like, I was just kind of like, like that summer I had a bad summer playing baseball. That summer I had a lot of habits. Like I was going out a lot. I wasn't necessarily proud of myself. And he texted me. He said, "You are who you want to be, bro. Just make the choice." And that is all it is in 2025. If you want something, if you want to become somebody, it starts with your mindset, because what you think turns into what you say, and that turns into what you do. So that mindset is the spark. It is the spark of everything. But today, the hardest thing is making that choice, because you're so distracted by the world.
Yeah. Well, one moment in your lifetime were you very much distracted, and how did you kind of walk around it? Like, what did you do to go back to what was the main purpose in that point?
I think I don't think I was ever at a point where I was like running around distracted, like, oh, I'm so distracted, like running around like that. But everything like always comes to a point. And there was just a point where like, and at the time, like I'm younger, I'm like 20. I'm like, I want to go hang out with my boys. So I hang out with my boys. And then I'm like, I'll go work out, because I need to work out. And then, I got to go to work. I go to work, and then I get off of work. I'm like, what do? I'll go hang out with my boys. I'm not really building anything. I'm just kind of running around aimlessly. So it came to a point, like I was saying, where I was like, I really want to like go down a direction. Like I want to be great at something. And like what was right in front of me, my senior year of college, my last year that I was going to play baseball, I made that choice. I was like, this is my last year no matter what.
Right.
So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do until it was probably like August at the time, 2022. I'm like, until I graduate in May 2023, I know what this time frame requires from me.
Right.
So I'm going to be the best student. I'm going to be the best baseball player. I'm going to be the best man. I'm going to be the best everything I can be every single day for this time frame, and whatever comes of that, that's all a byproduct of me like making that mindset choice, that habit choice.
Yeah, and then also that also came with you developing your habits. So how do you build a strong habit?
The habit is, I think a lot of people like to use the word like repetition, but repetition is like repeating. It's doing the same, like in the quote, like doing the same thing over and over. I don't know what the quote is exactly, but it's like doing the same thing over and over is like insanity. So it's not really repetition, it's iteration. Every time I attempt something, I try to do it a little bit better. Like Monday through Friday, I go to the gym at 5 a.m. I used to sleep in, like when I was a freshman in college, I'd sometimes sleep until noon. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't just wake up one day at 5 a.m. and like start doing that.
Right.
I started going to bed earlier. I went to bed at 11 for a while, and then I went to bed at 10 for a while. And then eventually I got to a place where I could go to bed at 9 and wake up at 4:30 and be to the gym by 5. A lot of people like to like explain their habits and be like, you just got to do this. But like, there's a gradual process to everything. And that's what everything's about. It's the journey of becoming that person. Eventually, you get to the point where you are that person. But habits are started by incremental steps consistently.
So consistency is key.
Consistency is key.
You know, let's talk about consistency. I've had somebody on the podcast that was so intrigued with, that was so like, you know, fascinated with the word motivation. But a lot of people debate that you have to, you know, you can have motivation, but discipline is key in order for you to stay consistent. You know, but like with consistency, how do you utilize that in your everyday challenges? You know, because you are posting videos every single day. You are going to the gym every day, like you said. And how do you kind of utilize that consistency and maintaining it? Sometimes you could lose track. You know, you may something may come in the way, but like, do you still do what you have to do?
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. I feel like there might be a couple things, but the main thing is just remembering your why. There's got to be a why, and you got to constantly remember yourself, like what that why is. Like, I was watching. Sometimes I allow myself to scroll on TikTok sometimes after I post.
Right.
And there's a video that popped up, and it was either talking about Taoism or Taoism, but there's a thought in there that some people have discipline for a reason, and then some people have discipline just to tell other people they have discipline. So that's the wrong reason to have discipline. Once you have your why, that fuels you to have discipline and consistency and stay motivated. And I'd say the second thing, after you have that why, you need to constantly remind yourself, and a way I do that is by constantly trying to speak affirmations in my mind. Sometimes I get out of the habit, but I'm trying to get back into the habit of constantly writing these affirmations down. Like, I'm grateful to be where I'm at. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm prepared for the unknown as it unfolds. These anchor phrases, I like to call them sometimes, and pair that with your why, then you stay motivated, you stay consistent, you stay disciplined. But if you got no why, if you got nothing you're aiming at, I mean, you can do anything for any reason.
You spoke about embracing challenges, but do you think your words of affirmation allows you to embrace your challenges each and every single day?
I think, and that really unlocked the base, and that's another reason I started the Undiscovered Prospects things, because I realized through baseball that I would speak those affirmations in between every single pitch.
Right.
I would tell myself, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm prepared for the moment. And that would be a constant reminder that whatever was happening in the game, good or bad, I tell myself I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And that led to a lot of success with my mindset in the game of baseball. So that's why I started it. I'm like, I knew why I succeeded. So that's why I wanted to start at Undiscovered Prospects, because if someone knows why they succeed, you can learn from them and succeed the same way. Not saying I have all the answers, but I feel like I have a framework that can help other people, other players.
Bro, I'm telling you, people ignore the power of words of affirmation, you know, because I myself, I do tell myself like you can do it, like you're powerful. Like I write things down, and I write those things down when I'm feeling like, hey, like what's going on? Like I'm confused. You know, but then I remind myself how powerful I am in terms of like the mindset. And I'm glad that you're actually out there speaking to the youth and so many other people, because there's so many people who are struggling today. And the reason why they're struggling is because they constantly allow what they see on social media kind of impact their everyday lifestyle. You know, it's like, why this person have that and I don't? Like this person is so younger than me. Like how they're a millionaire and I'm not a millionaire. Like I'm like 30 years old. I'm like, it don't matter. It's
Don't
not your
matter.
time yet. You know, everybody have different timing. Just embrace. And I like how you say embrace challenges, because embrace your everyday moment. Like embrace every single day, because the moment you start complaining, that's when you start giving up on your life. You also said something very important. Surround yourself with the right people. And do you think doing that also helps you in that case?
I'd say absolutely. Like, and I can't even speak on this in the sense that like I got this one figured out, because I feel like I gained a lot of success my senior year of baseball, my last year, or the year I became All-American. I feel like I gained a lot of success from isolation. I didn't talk to a lot of people. I talked to my family. I talked to a couple of boys I was close with. I talked to my teammates, talked to my professors, but like I wasn't out and about trying to talk with everyone about everything. I was very controlled on what I told to who, and because I feel like everyone doesn't need to know everything unless you're around those right people. And that's still something I'm trying to figure out. But if you just think about it like this, what's more powerful? Being around a bunch of people who are constantly critiquing you, judging you, trying to say what you're doing is like maybe there's a better way to do it. Or imagine you were around 3 people that only told you the things you were thinking were the best. The things that you were doing are making you better. Like if you took away that judgment and were only around people who support you, think about like how much growth you could have as an individual. Like, just having that little thought experiment, thinking that it explains why like being around people who support you and like who are on the same road as you, it empowers you and gives you energy.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of people actually accept criticism? 'Cause so many people are very sensitive, man. Like super sensitive to a point where like you can't really be honest with them. You know, now I feel like today's generation, honesty have been out the window.
Yeah.
You know, like the moment you're honest with someone, you're a hater.
Yeah.
Or you're somehow like, you know, you just don't want to see them succeed, or you want to be better than them, or, you know, you being bougie or anything like that. Like, have you came across people like that?
Yeah, dude. And it's super tough because like me, I'd rather just be around a bunch of people who keep it like 100 with each other.
Right.
Like I'd rather be around that. But especially, let's just speak from the perspective when I'm around men. When I'm around men older than me, same age as me, younger than me, if we just keep it honest, I think a lot of people get caught up in like how things are said. When as men, like when I'm around other men, don't get caught up in how I say things. Get caught up in like the point of the message. What is he saying here? Because if I'm working with you, if I'm training with you, if I'm trying to work in a business or coach with you, there's something bigger than us that we're at here. For example, like I coach for Western New York Prospects. This is what this hat is right here. Every time we come to practice, there's sometimes that the guy I coach for, he gets on us a little bit because he wants us to coach better. But I don't get insulted by that. He wants our brand, our coaching style to constantly get better, and he wants us to be the best coaches we can be. So I don't get frustrated because sometimes his tonality might be harsh to some people.
He's a man.
He's a man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like, especially, I don't want to generalize, but people at our age, 20-ish in there, they haven't been taught that like when you're around men, don't get caught up in tonality. Like understand the message. Try to understand the message. And it's not like I think a lot of people want to be right more than they want to like understand something. So like if you understand something, you know the why and you get it and you won't forget that. But if you're just constantly trying to be right and not be wrong,
Right.
you're getting caught up in the wrong competition. Like,
Most definitely, bro. I mean, I've learned that myself. I've always been a student of the game. Like you said, you could be around someone that's younger than you, older than you, or same age, but at the end of the day, they have something that they can teach you. Because we don't know everything. You know,
Right.
we're just humans. We learn by other people's mistakes, our mistakes, listening to others, watching others do something. And you also have spoken about a lot of athletes and stuff like that. But I wanted to focus on just what are some major stuff that is destroying like the young athletes today? Because a lot of athletes, I can say injuries and stuff like that. I mean, that's something that happens in sports, but also just within the mindset game. Like, what are some things that you've noticed, while you're coaching that have been destroying the young athletes today?
When it comes to mindset, I'd say limiting beliefs. And what I mean by that is control what you can control. So if I can control that thing, I can control my thought. So if I'm practicing as a baseball player and I fail, don't be like, oh, like today I didn't feel the greatest, or like, it's because I did this, or because that happened, or this coach is throwing bad BP. I can control my thought. I can't control the coach's batting practice he's throwing to me,
Right.
but I can control my thought. So then why would I think negative thoughts? Why would I confirm negative thoughts that limit me? When I can constantly go back to the simplest form of this, the glass half full, the glass half empty. Why would we ever go with the glass half empty approach? Like, always think the best thoughts, always be in control of your thoughts.
Right.
And that's a responsibility. And I get it. Some people don't want that responsibility. Some people rather rest in the fact that like they can have excuses and cope with stuff by saying stuff's a certain reason. But I love the responsibility of being able to think that I'm in control of my mindset and I can dictate whatever I think. And I think as an athlete, if they carried the same responsibility, that I control my thoughts and I can control how I train and I control my perspective on everything, not just in my sport, but in my life, I think that would take them, because they say in the game of baseball is like life. And if you can learn that one skill of controlling your thought and always thinking the glass half full, you have like exponential growth that you can attain.
Most definitely, bro. You work with kids, you coach youth and so on. And some parents, you have to deal with them. There's some parents that come to the games and, they're so hyped up. They're so passionate about wanting to see their kids do better and so on the stands. And sometimes it gets annoying because I played academy and there were some parents that got red cards that got kicked off the stands because they were doing too much, and plus there's some kids who just don't listen, but like, how do you deal with those, obstacles?
Yeah, I'd say for the parents, like, I get it. Like, I get it. Like, I remember how my parents were. My parents weren't like crazy or whatever, but like, they were investing in me. They were investing money. They were investing time for me to play a sport that I like to play, and they wanted for me to succeed as best I can.
Right.
So I could see. I don't get offended by passion. I don't take it the wrong way. There's sometimes that people overstep boundaries, and when that happens, you address it at that moment. But like, I love when parents are passionate about their kid. Sometimes you go too far, and in that context, it is what it is. Those are addressed differently. But I love passionate parents. And then as far as like kids who sometimes don't listen, like, I don't know. There was a point in time when I was like a little kid. I thought I knew everything. You think you know everything, like, oh, he's just yelling at me, or oh, he's just telling me this. But I try to do as best I can to help them understand over time. If I'm consistently being as best of an example, a coach, reminding them, not trying to push the boundary too hard, but just trying to be consistently there and showing them like why I'm here, why you should make this adjustment, or why you should do this thing, then consistency wins over time. They might not understand me in that first moment that we have that first conversation, but
Right.
hopefully that kid understands over time that I was looking out the whole time, you know?
Yeah. And also speaking of that, how like in what ways like do you say it's better to teach kids, on them developing some leadership skills? Because not every kid that you're gonna coach, you're gonna see that, okay, this guy has a potential of becoming a leader at some point, or a coach or captain, but you still have to help them develop those skills, because it does help them out in the outside world. It helps them build confidence. It helps them, know how to communicate with others, or working with others. But like, what do you do in regards to helping them, develop those leadership skills going forward?
Yeah, and that's still like a working thing for me. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to approach that. But I remember when I was like 12, I had a coach pull me aside when I just had moved to Georgia. And like I said, I didn't talk a lot as a kid because I was always the new kid. So I always just like focused on what I was doing. And at practice, I wouldn't really talk. I wouldn't really mess around. I'd always just be so focused on trying to practice like as best I can.
Right.
He pulled me aside and he was like, and Coach Randy, man, shout out to Coach Randy. He was like one of the first coaches that really put a lot of confidence in me. He pulled me aside and he's like, I want you to like stay on track. Like, I want you to be a leader on this team. He's like, I don't care that it's like we're playing 12U or whatnot. Like, I want you to like constantly be a good influence on the rest of these guys. And when I think about that and being the coach in my shoes now, I try to hold the guys that they're more talented. They're already a step ahead. Those guys are naturally leaders because they're going to be the best players on the team.
Right.
And those guys should just be held to a little bit higher standard than everyone else, and nudging them and challenging them and being a good influence on them in certain ways. Like, some of those guys deserve more like one-on-one conversations than team discussions. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
like just growing up myself, like in my culture, it's about seniority. It don't matter where you are, the other person has to go first. And sometimes it can get frustrating. Coming here, a lot of kids started saying, "Oh, why they gotta do it first?" But I think it allows you to see, okay, this person been there before, more experiences, more. Even in the soccer team that we play, like I'll play with like grown people when I was young. It's like this person been there. My main goal is to learn from them, and when they see that, it kind of gives them the ability to say, you know what, this kid, there's a lot to teach them, and they're actually gonna take time out of their schedule to teach you something. I always wanted to talk to someone, especially an athlete, about this. Like, what are some points in your lifetime, when you were playing sports with like some of the people who were older than you, and they belittled you, made you feel less of yourself?
Dude, okay, so when I was a kid, I was probably in that like third, fourth, fifth grade range, right? I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. I lived in a big like community, and I lived right next to like the community center. So there was a pool, there was like a tennis court, and I lived right next door to this big field. And this was like the big field that everyone would come to, and it would typically be football. And since I was the kid that lived right next door, of course I wander out there. I'm trying to play with these older guys who are like 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, some of them.
Right.
And I wanted to play. Like, I knew they were stronger than me. I knew they were bigger than me. But I wanted to constantly go play football with those dudes because, like, they were kind of like role models. I thought they were cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they would bang up on me. Like, we played tackle football. They'd beat up on me, tackle me, like, beat up on me. They're way bigger than me, but I would always want to go out there and like try to prove myself to them.
Right.
So I think with that seniority or like those people who are older than you, it's something about always want to, like, it feels good when you gain an older person's respect in whatever domain. Or
so in that case, they gain your respect. It's like
I always aim for it. I don't know if I did or not because I was so young at the time. I never had the conversation like, do you respect me? But like, you know what I mean? It's that competitive, like, I want to gain their respect. Like, I'm going to come out here every time. Even though you tackled me super hard last time, I went inside crying to my mom.
Right.
I'm back out here. Let's do it again. Like,
what did your mother say every time you go back home?
My mom would be trying to protect me. Like, that's my mom. Like, she'd be like, don't go out there, like they're gonna play rough, or like I go out there and they tackle me hard and my mom will come out like, come on, like he's in 5th grade, like whatever. Like my mom she'd be momming, you know what I'm saying? So, but I think that's the role of your mom to protect you, but I'd want to go out there and try to prove myself every time.
I know, bro. I really miss seeing. I mean, like you said, just growing up, going out there and playing sports. I really miss seeing that, bro. Like nowadays, when I see the kids, it's like a lot of kids want to sit down on their video games, phone, and they don't want to go out there. But they don't realize that really teaches you a lot. You know, it teaches you not just, you know, how to socialize with people, but it also teaches you like your weaknesses, your strength, because you kept going because you feel like I'm more powerful than these guys think I am. Like I'm gonna go back there. I'm gonna prove myself.
They think they can keep me in the house. They think they can hit me hard and I'm not gonna come back.
Yeah,
like,
that's it. You know, but you still managed to do it. But like today, you know, a lot of kids are not willing to go outside.
Yeah.
You know, have you come across some of those kids and like, what do you tell them? Like, what do you tell them in regards to kind of like help them, you know, go out there and be in the world, enjoy everything that's going on?
I don't know. I think it's tough to talk to the kids about it because they don't understand.
What makes it tough though?
If once they're in high school, I think they can kind of understand or begin to understand. But I think if they're younger than that, they don't fully understand. Like they've only grown up with a world of technology. Like we're like 20, you're 25, I'm 24. Like we were like that last era right before like iPhones took off. Like I remember I was like 10 or 11 before the iPhone 4 came out. And then once the iPhone 4 came out, that was like, people could watch YouTube like right on their phone. So
those iPods in the bus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think the conversation needs to be, I think as a parent, I think about what I would do as a parent. And I think the responsibility falls more on the parent. And I get it. It's like an easy thing to give to your kid and they'll be distracted. They'll zone out on that iPad or that thing. But if you don't give them that thing, they're forced to do other things and they'll probably go outside and they'll probably mess around. They'll probably like bang their knee or like get in some trouble, but they'll come back home and they'll learn something from it. Yeah. Rather than be entertained aimlessly by this device that's literally meant to like control your focus.
Yeah, no, I agree, bro. When was the last time when was the first time your parents gave you like a phone or iPad or those little mini iPad?
So I lucked out. So when my first phone I got like when I was like the end of 5th grade, maybe, or like around my birthday, 5th grade. I'm December birthday, so around Christmas. My parents had got
me when?
December 5th.
Oh, December 16th.
December 16th? Yeah, Sagittarius, dude. They got me a slide up phone. That was gonna be my first phone. And my uncle was going to buy both my brothers, an iPod for Christmas. That was going to be their gift. So he asked if he should buy me an iPod, even though I'm getting this new phone. And my parents were like, we're just going to get him an iPhone. So I was very fortunate. My first phone was an iPhone 4. I remember I played Jetpack Joyride, Fruit Ninja. Like I was playing all them games, man. I knew what it was like to get lost in the game. I used to be a gamer, bro. So I used to play all them games. But like, I think those devices are like made to entertain. So
what was the first thing they told you when they gave you that device? Because I watched this one video. This parent gave his daughter a brand new iPhone 14, I believe, and then he told her like, "Listen, I'm giving you this phone this fast, and that's how fast I can take it back. But I want you to focus on your studies." Make sure you're not on social media just, you know, talking nonsense or making random friends and want to text them, because those could be like the people that can negatively influence you. You know, so he gave her like some lessons before giving her that device. But what were some things that your parents said to you when they handed you the iPod?
So I know I really like that lesson. As fast as I gave it to you, I could take it back. I like that one. Yeah, but my parents would take it away if I was like misbehaving, if I was like not being nice to my brothers, or like maybe I didn't do a chore that I was supposed to do. They take it away. They didn't really quote unquote give me a lesson right away. They were just kind of like, this is for you to like be in contact with us and being able to like that was the main reason they got it. So like I could be in contact with them and be in contact just like whoever I needed to be. But I don't know, like I went down like I used to play a bunch of video games. I watch a lot of YouTube. I feel like not really being like limited with it. Maybe it would have ended up better if they gave it to me and gave me a bunch of direction. But I felt like I explored so much on the phone, YouTube, playing phone games, using it on social media that like I was able to realize what I like to use it for because I was able to experiment with like different games, organization. Like sometimes I use it for like Google Docs and I was on that for a while, but like I wasn't really limited per se. I wasn't really taught like specific lesson.
You used it very much, in a positive way. I think also it was better because now on social media, it's just so much, bro. Like you on that phone, you scrolling down, you see so much negative things.
Dude.
And sometimes I think it's affecting a lot of kids today.
Dude, I get overwhelmed sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's a guy named Ty Lopez. I'm not sure if you know. He's
Ty Lopez, yeah, I know him.
Yeah,
yes.
he always talks about his social media strategy, and when people are on his live stream and they ask him like who are like influencers he likes to watch and whatnot, he says I don't get high on my own supply. He's like, I use the app to post. He's like, I don't sit on there and scroll. He's like, I don't get high on my own supply. He's like, I'm literally making ads and videos to get your attention to buy my product. So if I'm doing it, a lot of people are doing it. So I try to keep my focus on, because you're right, bro. There's a lot of negativity on those apps now.
Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, bro, we're getting closer to the end. I just want to ask you my last question. Something that, I always ask every guest because there's a lot of kids that look up to you.
Mm-hmm.
As you just being a coach, being a mental game coach, and so many other stuff. There's probably a lesson that you can teach them today. But what is one advice do you have for them?
Mm-hmm.
In regards to finding their true passion or something that they want to do in the future. What is one advice do you have for those kids?
I think it's like don't get caught up. And I was just having this conversation with my girlfriend last night, and me personally, I don't like to try to get caught up in like too far ahead. I try to like stay close, and maybe it's a flaw, and maybe I'll find that out, but I like to try to stay as close to the present moment as I can. And I think most people at a younger age should try to do that. See what you're motivated by, inspired by, what you like, what you don't like, closer to this moment. And once you like that thing, okay, go start going further down the path. But don't try to be like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And those things are like 10 years out, 5 years out. When like you can move now, act on the now, and let that lead your inspiration, your motivation that turns into discipline. Then you can have discipline after you're inspired by something, and then you're motivated, and then you turn it into discipline. But it's hard to be disciplined, jump right to the discipline on something, say like a lawyer. Like I admire people who go to like who are lawyers or doctors, because you basically make a choice that you're gonna spend like a decade on like education. But where I feel like most people would benefit from, most kids would benefit from, teenagers would benefit from, focus on your next 3 months. Try to focus on one thing you're gonna add into your routine this week. Focus on what one thing new you're gonna do tomorrow that you didn't do yesterday that would make you better. If you read 10 pages that you never read before, you'd be smarter. That if you went and worked out, you'd be a little bit stronger, a little bit healthier. If you cut out that snack before you went to bed, you'd be a little bit healthier. So like focus on those small batches and they turn into great things.
Great things. Appreciate you so much, bro. It was an honor having you on the show. As I always say, man, I'm going to continue to work so hard to bring amazing guests like this who are going to teach you, people that you can actually listen to their life experiences, because we all have different experiences and we all have something to teach along the way. Once again, thank you so much. And where can the people find you?
Yeah, dude. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, sir.
Undiscovered Prospects on all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Thomas Evans, Coach Red, Undiscovered Prospects. Discover yourself so the world can discover who you are.
Hey man, thank you, and go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and we outside. Let's go.
Yes, sir.